All right, well, welcome to my first ever clinical podcast. Badass Clinicians
The
is the name.
Badass
D
Clinicians.
bit well, it's not D. The
Right.
website is Badass Clinicians.
Badass
So
Clinicians.
pretty much, my goal for this is to interview really badass clinician and really make it cool again to be a physical therapist, man.
From
And
a badass clinician.
yeah, and I think there's not enough of us out there where I think most of the time that I see when I go on any Facebook or anything, which I don't, it's a lot of physical therapists who are just complaining about the feel. And
Just hate
there's not
PT.
enough of us out there who love what we do. Like I love being a therapist.
Love it.
And so do you. So I think it's just right just to get this kind of podcast, good spirit. So that way, hey, listen, let's get back on the wave where let's justify why we do what we do and why it's worth the student loan, why it's worth the 3 of sacrifice about times that we could have been doing something else. Without further ado, Dr. Jaime Mor, one of my closest friend, my day one, pretty much, we started our first job together.
First job.
Hey man, I just want to, we're here in Clearwater, Florida, beautiful day. I mean, it's like 90 degrees, sunny out.
Right on the beach.
Yeah, it's the best place. I mean, just considering where we started from, obviously New Jersey.
Yeah.
You and I were new grads, and just watching your progression, man, I'm super proud to be your friend. Just to see where how we all started together, and you're obviously an influencer, micro influencer. Now, but either way, you work for Octave, you work for Excel, you work with professional athletes, and you are now a business owner. So before all of that, what I know you for is a really badass clinician since day one, even as a new grad. I think, that's why we get along so well, that we were able to, like, we had that drive, right? We didn't know much, but we just kind of figure it out, and we're still figuring it out. It's always in a learning mindset.
Yeah.
And I think just having you on, just go back to the basic, back to being really good at what you do in your craft, getting good outcomes and I want you to talk it through, like how you perfecting your craft and still continuing to do it got you to where you are now. So why don't we just talk briefly about your backstory? I mean, people who know you already know your backstory. People who have not heard of you will now. So go for it, man.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure, and I could reflect all of the things that you just said about me onto you. But people who are listening to this know you, so they know how great you are. But me, I just knew I wanted to be a PT. I got the experience being an athlete, getting hurt, and going through my rehab and going through my experiences. I really had two PT experiences that shaped the direction of my career. The first one was in high school when I first got hurt, and I found out like sports medicine PT. It was amazing. Really what we do, right? Like that's the kind of PT that I went to. Strength and conditioning based. Like I was doing all this crazy stuff. It was real cool. I was in a gym. I was throwing medicine balls, and I was like, wow, this is really what I want to do. Then I got to college, and I got injured again, same shoulder, completely different PT experience. Actually, I was told I was at PT, but I was seeing an occupational therapist.
Oh, man.
Yeah, don't even get me started.
10 people.
But, so, I just had like the typical, here's your paper, here's a green band, this is what you do. When you come in and do your exercises, which we've seen before. Like, we've been a product of that world.
Of course.
And I mean, for me, like, I had those two experiences that really shaped my professional career. And I knew becoming a professional, I never wanted to be a part of that second group.
Yeah.
I wanted to be that first group, the person that inspired me to want to do this for a living. Yeah. Versus walking out, and look, I've been to many different experiences and doctor visits and things like that. And when you get that feeling of walking out, like, I can't wait till I don't have to do this anymore, versus I can't wait till I go back for my next session, I think that explains everything. So for me, everything that I do in my entire career has been shaped on this idea of I want people to want to come back to see me.
Yeah.
I want to create an environment, an atmosphere, and most importantly, a relationship with people that they look forward to reaching out to me. It's not, even though PT, as we both know, is like a grudge purchase. People don't like to spend their money on PT. No. I like to provide some kind of experience for people that they enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's something that they want to talk to others about. They want to share their experience and tell other people about it.
Yeah.
So through my career, right, as an athletic trainer, and then finishing physical therapy school, and my experience with Exos, and so starting out young, right, we worked together in North Jersey, had the opportunity to go back to Exos, spent 3.5 years at Exos, and then moving back to Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Every moment, every experience that I have had is really to create that,
Yeah.
and to further that. And so clinical skills, like when I try to work on my clinical skills and what can I add to my clinical repertoire, for me it's always that, like, what can I do to not make this a bad experience for my patient.
Okay.
And so it reflects back into my head in that there's always something more for me to learn.
Yeah.
Because we always get somebody that doesn't want to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
There's always that patient that, like, at the end of a plan of care is like, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope I never see you again. Not like, okay, can I schedule in like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Or how does the one-off visit work right now in cash practice and stuff like that? And so everything, like, for me and how I shape my career is really to want somebody to call me back.
Mm-hmm.
To want people to kind of keep working with me. And so my mindset is always like, how can I one up and continue to level up so I can keep providing that experience? Because once you become someone's PT, right, and I have some pretty decent sized clients, I don't want them to go somewhere else.
Of course.
I have to continue to level myself up to make sure that I'm providing the best care so that a grandma, a high school athlete, or a professional, an NFL quarterback, right, like, I still want them to call me and want me to be the one working with them. So that's been my mindset on how I've continued to develop my professional skills, is just, I know that there's always more, because there's always someone that doesn't want to work with you.
Yeah,
always.
Of course. You can't help everybody anyways. You're not the best fit for everyone. You're only a niche for someone, right? And I think just to kind of go back to your career, I didn't even know that. I don't think we talked about that. That was something new, that where you were experienced
stuff out.
Your experience with your PT for your shoulder dictate, pretty much your career where you are now. And so to me, it's like, listen, man, it's like driving your first car as a BMW.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, now it's a Honda. Like, no disrespect to Honda, but it's no BMW.
It's not a BMW.
So you're like, oh shit, I know this BMW experience. Oh wow, like, that's what I cater to. So this is how you shaped me so much, right? So when we first met, you were like fired up. You just came back from Exos, and like, I have background in personal training, CrossFit, and all of that stuff. So I know my exercise progression. I know nothing about like plyometric progression. I know nothing about agility progression and all of that. So I think as soon as we got together, you're like, yo, bro, like, that's what we were doing in Exos. I honestly, no bullshit, never heard of Exos before I met you.
Yeah, most people.
So I'm just like, and I looked into it, it's like, oh my god, this place is legit. And so to me, based on your experience of what you went through, kind of shaped how I have my clinic right now.
Yeah.
Because I went to visit you at Exos.
Yes.
To do some real, like,
2-3 days that you were there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there for a week. I like really recon marketing. I was like, I want to go know what it's like, what they do in Exos. I want to see the ins and outs, so I know I can bring back that experience. Like, what am I missing? That's always my approach, right? What am I missing? But before then, I was not a business person.
Right.
I was just looking to build a niche for myself that I enjoy going and treating every day. Like, obviously I like seeing my Medicare because I like old people. They're just so wise. They're so cute.
Yeah, you learn from them.
Yeah, but if you put a gun to my head, I say, I'd rather do return to sport. I'd rather do all that.
10 out of 10 times, right.
So I was like, all right, let me go see what the mountaintop looked like. That was always me, right?
Yeah.
I went, I saw you in action. You let me do all these things. I was like, man, all right, this is really cool. And then I was just trying to take it in. But what I observed, right, this is me paying homage to you. What I observed was you did create that experience where there are people that are walking in and, like, tentatively has to see you. And then afterwards, they're like, oh no, I'm going on his schedule.
Right.
And obviously it's the interaction, it's the experience, but also the outcome. You were able to get people better, which is that's the best part. I think we're missing, me being a business owner now, and so are you.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to do is that our direct success to our business has to tie in with how much we care about the outcome of the patient. And I don't want that to be, I don't want it. I don't want people in the field to lose sight of like why we became PT in the first place.
It sounds like I've said it before and I'll say it again. like it is and always will be the only important thing being a physical therapist. It doesn't matter how good you are at flashy shit, and I'm good at flashy shit, right? Like I can whip stuff out that people never seen before.
Yeah.
I can make things look real fancy, and there's always a reason and there's always a directive, and when I explain it to people, they're like, oh, that makes complete sense. I understand why you're doing that. But at the end of the day, you got to get people better.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time, as business owners, we get it. I hear so many new grads that talk about, I want to be a business owner. I want to start my own business.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're not good at your job. And to any new grad listening, I apologize. And I'll look straight at the camera.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, you suck at your job. And I tell this to every student that I've ever worked with, because guess what? You're never going to stand toe-to-toe with me.
Yeah.
You're not going to stand toe-to-toe with you. I have way more experience in this field. I've been doing it for too long. So if you think you're great, then what am I?
Yeah.
And that's not to like toot my horn. That's to say, like, humble yourself. I hear new grads coming out of school all the time thinking that they're so good, right? And you're not.
Yeah.
And that's the reality, because there are people that have been doing this for longer. And so what's like the humbled moment is it doesn't matter who you need to stand toe-to-toe with. It's the patient that's in front of you need to stand toe-to-toe with. So if you're working with somebody, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
If you don't get them better, they're not coming back to see you. They're not going to enjoy your experience. And so if you're a shit clinician, but they enjoy spending time with you, there's more of a chance they'll come back.
Yeah.
But if you can get them better and they enjoy spending time with you, that's it. Like,
yeah,
you have patience for life.
It has to do with intention too, right? Like you're, like for me, I can speak for myself that every time I have someone in front of me, I care about their well-being, like overall. Like I want them generally to get better. I don't have any other ulterior motives, like, oh, if I get them better, then I get this and I get that. No, but I just like, hey, I just want to get them better. Like they come to see me, and just like you said, like PT is a grudge purchase. Like nobody say, you know what, I want to wake up, go to physical therapy. This is what I want to do for an hour.
Except for pro athletes.
Exactly, but then again, that's a new thing now.
Yes.
Though, because it's like, oh shit, that's what I have to do.
Because of social.
Yes.
Let's be honest. It's because of LeBron.
Of course, Odell, all those guys. Yeah. Of course, because there's Brady and all of that. But either way, like at the end of the day, and to go back to your new grad point, like yes, I mean, listen, when you guys come out, you like experience, and we're not one of these people where we're like, oh, we've been doing this for so long, that's why we're good. It's like, no, we've been doing this for so long. We made countless of mistakes, and we never stopped learning.
I still make mistakes.
Yeah, never stop learning. So the fact that you think that like, oh, I'm just gonna come out and I'm just gonna take all the PRI course or whatever course you want to do, and like, no, now I know all this. No, dude, you still need real world experience.
Right.
And plus,
you need reps.
Yes. And another thing that you need to get back into is like back to basic, back to know how to talk to people. Like nobody gives a shit about what you can recite out, like, your algorithm, whatever it is. Like they care about outcome, but they also care about the experience as well. Like how do you make people feel during that time, right? They don't care that you can quote Payne Sire articles. They don't care that you can do.
Most people don't give a shit about that.
Exactly. So I think the biggest problem is that people pay less focus on clinical.
Yeah.
But then also they can go way too much on clinical stuff. So I think there's got to be a well balance where like you do the clinical stuff to help patients get better, to get good outcome, but you also learn to just be a better person overall.
Well, how many times, and this was like a reflective moment for me. How many times do we stop in an evaluation? Because it starts with the evaluation.
Yeah.
But how many times do we stop in an evaluation? That's the most confusing part for a patient. And ask them, do you have any questions? Not only at the end, every step of the process.
Yeah.
When I finish a subjective, do you have any questions? Like, is there any question that you haven't asked yet that you're not comfortable with? Okay. Let's move on to the objective portion. And then I say, if you have a question, ask me. I'm going to go through this and I'll try to explain everything I can, but ask, because that's part of the experience, right? That's part of people being able to understand. Being able to cite articles and like tell me the EMG activity of like a low trap with a band, like I don't care. Like, and your patient doesn't care. Your patient wants to feel better and they want to know that you're doing your best.
Yeah.
So by being able to answer the questions, they're understanding that. My philosophy has and always will be to not inflict immense amount of pain on a patient, because they're coming to me for the opposite.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Like, so why would my direct treatment plan be to make it hurt more? And I've worked alongside therapists for a long time that are like, well, this is gonna hurt. You have to hurt to feel better, and I don't buy that because again, it's all the experience.
Yeah.
It's the experience that I'm creating for the person that's in front of me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that, right? I want to try to move them to a less pain-free site or a less pain-free space. So by increasing pain, oh yeah, our perception may be less, right, based on pain science,
Yeah.
but right, it all comes back to the experience that we're trying to create. And I think it doesn't matter, new grad, seasoned vet, like young
people
PT.
have seen it.
Getting back to the basics reminds you on what's important in the experience, right? We can use big words like algorithms and you know, like movement progressions and at the end of the day, right, it is the basics because you learn the basics for a reason.
Yeah.
So being able to do the basics and master the basics, that's how you start your experience for somebody. Only when you're good at that can you start to sprinkle in fucking cool shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like, vanilla ice cream is good because it's vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
you don't buy sprinkle and then people don't go for the sprinkle.
They go for the ice cream but put the fucking sprinkles on it.
Yeah.
So maybe you're chocolate, maybe you're a swirl person, like, right? But everyone has their flavor preference. And then there's the extra stuff. Nobody just buys a thing of sprinkles and eats sprinkles by themselves. Right? Sprinkles is the shit that you add on.
Yeah.
The basics, ankle mobilizations, right? Soft tissue mobility, like the ankle four-way, I hate that exercise, but like single leg balance, like that's the basic crux of what physical therapy is. You got to be good at that before you start talking to me about like lunge matrix and like activation of posterior tib and like dynamic valgus at the foot and like rear foot, forefoot pronation and like flat foot. Like if you come to me and start talking to me about foot position and you're like not quite sure about like mechanics of the ankle and you're not good at like mobile, like what are you doing? You're talking about sprinkles, right? And so
and again, love that analogy. Like you don't try to sell the sprinkle, you try to sell the vanilla ice cream itself. And the vanilla ice cream is the patient experience, right? The outcome, right? How, like, can you make them feel good? Can you make them move well? Can you make them stronger?
That's it.
Right? Very, very simple. And just going back, like you, the whole point of you doing all your evaluation is to figure out why they are where they are. It wasn't
100%.
So this is the trap that I used to be. I'll admit this, right? Where when I have someone coming in, I'm like, all right, time to wow them with some wild shit.
Right.
And now I'm just like, shit, like
time to show off.
Like this is not my show. Like it, like, you know, like I'm literally like, I have to take a couple of step backs and say, you know what? I'm not a fucking Batman here. I'm Alfred. They're Batman. Like they're gonna do some dumb stuff. They're gonna get hurt. Part of my job is like, Mr. Wayne, let me go help you, and then right, and that's it. Like that's me, right? I'm just there to hear the story, right, and then understand what's going on. And like now, with my eval, I listen way more.
Way more.
The list, like their story dictates where I go with it, right? And all I'm trying to do is just validating experience because their experience it's real. It's a real thing.
It's real. It's
and
life,
I think the problem is that when you go too sciencey, and you're like based on what you're telling me, based on this article.
You lose people.
You lose people. You end up invalidating their feeling,
right.
And then, you know, you want to complain about PT as a problem, healthcare as a problem. This is why it's a problem. We're the problem.
We are the problem.
Because we're invalidating people's feeling, bro. Do that to your spouse next time when they say they start venting about your day. Like, you know, you need to chill out. This is your problem is a non-problem. Say that to them, and you tell me how your day goes.
Right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's gonna all over.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the reality is people are way more than just the musculoskeletal system. And I think it is, I don't know whose fault it is. It might be school's fault. Anybody who knows me knows I bash school all the time.
Yeah.
All of these things are part of the human, right? And so, like, us ortho PTs, we think like musculoskeletal. Man, the nervous system is such a part of what we do,
it's huge,
right?
Yeah.
The pain and the brain's perception of things and
past experience, trauma,
all
everything.
Of it.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can go all day about that, but let's get back to the basic for like, you know, like, I mean, this whole podcast for like new grads and PT who just looking to make it different anyways. And, you know, my goal of this podcast to make sure that like, to justify why you spend $250K on your school and you should be happy being a PT because I sure am, right?
I am now.
Yeah.
Now, I would say there were times in my career where I haven't been.
Of course, but let's go back to that.
Yeah.
this is probably the best part is that
Gold.
because the expectation of people come out and they just say, hey man, I'm just trying to make X amount of money right now. Okay, yeah, let's dive into it. So now when kids coming out of school, they expect to just go to literally the best part of their career immediately, and which is really unexpected. Like you and I have
I'm not at the best part of my career yet.
yeah, but like lack of a better word, we ate shit for like 2 years, right? But those
I ate shit for longer than 2 years, right?
But honestly, those were, I want to say, looking back, those were the time that's super challenging, but I learned so much and make me like super gritty, right? And I think people need to go through that. Like you can't bypass that. Like when I hire anyone that I know are good clinicians, they have that like period where like, yes, they were super busy, they seen a lot of people, but they were just able to manage to get good outcome.
Right.
And I look for those kind of people. It's important.
And look, if you want to work with that like caliber of patient, right? Like, and so, like, I work with pretty high end athletes. You work with pretty high end athletes. Like, if you want to work with that quality of a patient, you better not be fucking up in front of them, right? And excuse my language, but like, I see so many new grads that want to work with pro athletes, and it's like you can't even get my ankle better. How do you want to get an NFL running back better? Just to do it, you're gonna freeze.
Yeah,
you're gonna freeze and not know what you're doing. You need to have the volume and the experience behind you for it to be a walk in the park.
Yeah.
I don't care who's in front of me. Anatomy is not changing. When I see an ankle, it's an ankle. It doesn't matter if it's a grandma's ankle, a high school athlete, professional athlete. It don't matter. It's an ankle. The anatomy is exactly the same. So I know what I'm going after.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like you said. It's because I've been through the grind. I've been through the ringer.
Yeah.
I've been seeing, and I tell people all the time, it's, it's my belief. It's not everyone's belief. But we've both been through it, so we get it. You gotta... The Kobe analogy, right? Like, you got to take, you miss every shot you don't take, right? And so to get better at taking shots, you got to take shots.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to get better at taking a foul shot, you have to go practice your foul shots.
Yeah. But
if you want to get better at working on ankles, you got to get the reps.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, go get the reps somewhere. Start. Get a first job. You're going to get a second job. But people come out with this glorification of what PT is going to look like. It's not going to be glorious when you first start. It's not supposed to be glorious when you first start. You don't actually have experience for it to be glorious.
Yeah. And even my counter argument to that was like, let's say you were a new grad, you have the opportunity to work with all these pro, right? And you haven't had any experience, and you messed up. You know that, it's like a bad Google review. It'll stick with you forever.
Forever, dude.
That's it. Like, why would you want to put that pressure on yourself? Like, pay your dues, right? I think that's what it's coming down to. Like, I mean, I pay my dues when it comes to work. We were seeing 3-4 patient an hours.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still getting good outcome because we were just grinding, like,
You learn what works.
Exactly.
In those moments.
Real quick. And you learn how to... You learn to go to the try and true principle, and like, all right, I know this get better, let me just go with that. That doesn't get better, you have to be quick on your feet, and you gotta be like, all right, let me try that, let me try that, let me try that.
If you can get 4 patients an hour better, you can get 1 patient an hour better.
Oh yeah, 100% and plus.
If you can get 1 patient an hour better, that don't mean you can do 4 of them at the same time.
Exactly. No, it's true. It's true. Like, I think I learned this from you, where like, you've been to a place where you see 1 patient an hour, and you're like, man, these people were just... They've been spoiled since day one, so they don't know how to think it differently.
Right.
Like they did, the bigger the pressure, I guess the better the diamond. Right. And you need that pressure.
You need it. Yeah, it's a must. Working under those conditions is the only way that you're going to really get to that point.
Yeah.
To the outcomes that you're looking for. To the place in your career that you want to go. Right. And that's really what it is. Like. Paul said it today, man. Like, if I see somebody that woke up with a big-ass house and a nice-ass car and all the nice clothes and the jewelry and the life, right?
Yeah.
But they inherited that shit,
I
don't want that.
Not the same.
Right? You need to work to understand so that way you can appreciate... And I probably said this when I was down at Exos to you.
Yeah.
I needed to go through what I went through at the start of my career to be able to appreciate the value of seeing 1-on-1 for an hour.
Yep.
I needed to understand how hard it was to see 4 an hour, to work and get better, like people that do dumb stuff, before I could appreciate the value of a star quarterback or a star edge rusher.
Yeah, of course.
And spending 2 hours with them. 2 hours with the same patient.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
But only once I've been through my shit could I appreciate the other side.
Yes.
If that's all you know, you can't appreciate the good things.
Yeah.
Like, you don't learn to accept it and be like, wow, I only saw 5 patients today. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Versus like, I only saw 5 patients in 1 hour.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't hire anyone who hasn't been through that grind. I
I
looked on the resume. I was
with
like,
you.
where have you worked? How many patients have you seen? And they're like, oh yeah, I've been seeing this and that. It's like, nope, you haven't seen enough. I don't want it. You want to appreciate what we have, right? Because we have is a luxury.
100%.
And that's pretty much it. And so, to the next point, you have to obviously you have to be in the gutter. You gotta learn, earn your stripe in some way, but also know your worth at some point. That know what you're gonna tolerate, right? That's the best part. Like with you learned that very early. I mean, I left after a year and a half. You left before me,
3
but
months.
but again, you left after 3 months to go to a different place. I left a year and a half to start my own thing.
100%, right.
So we all know where we needed to be. Like that, like this wasn't it. Like I took what I've learned. I feel very confident. I know how to get better, and I know what I need to do to get a way better patient experience, right? So for me, when you and I first started, there's nothing like this. What we have, right? There's nothing like Myokinetix, nothing like a U clinic. There weren't no one-on-one. There weren't no setting like that. All return to play, nothing like that at all. Like really no true mentorship.
Well, mentorship, right?
Exactly. So
don't exist.
I had to go out there and really build something new that my ideal clinic based on my experience in Exos and wherever I went to.
What I did, right?
Yeah.
Right. That's for me. My clinic, like what I do every day, is creating everything that is missing, and that's what you do too.
Yeah.
Like, I look at my market and I say, my market being locally and globally, right? Like I look at physical therapy and I say, we suck at this. I'm going to make sure I fix this, right? And for me, I look at the pro athlete and I say, this is what's out there. Yeah. This is what they're getting. They deserve better than that. They don't need to be treated the same way grandma's treated.
Yeah.
They should be treated better. So many pro athletes are not, right? They get the same BS garbage, right?
Yeah.
And then I flip it. And I say to people, well, if a pro athlete deserves to be treated that way, why don't you deserve to be treated that way?
Yeah.
And that's my business model. Is everyone should get that same quality. We all want that quality, right? When LeBron comes out with a new sneaker, everybody wants that sneaker.
Yeah. Not me.
Well, me either.
Yeah.
But right? But like every kid wants the new LeBron, right? Everybody wants the new Kobe.
Yeah.
So we see a celebrity with something, we want that. So why shouldn't we be able to get the same quality of care that they should be getting? So yeah, that's the value that I see in the business. But you made an interesting point before that I'd like to point out. As a new grad, you need to understand your value and your value system. I stand firm on this. You bring minimal value to the table when it comes to finances. And I just need to say that because you said like you need to know your value, and I think you need to know your value of what you can bring. But once again, like I talk to new grads all the time when we're talking about like negotiation, and it's like, what are you negotiating on? Like, what is your stance? That when I walk into a job interview, I have a resume to back up what I'm negotiating. So when you offer me X, I say, that's great, but like, thank you. I need X plus 50, right? When you're a new grad, you're like, I was offered 60.
Yeah.
My friend got offered 72. I deserve 72. That's great. Like, why you deserve 72?
Yeah.
What are you bringing to the table, right? Like, I think knowing your worth and what you value is different than, like, the monetary value, which I think is important. I tell people all the time, at the beginning of your career, and we both know this, financially is not what you're there to get.
No.
Your first 2 to 3 years of school, everyone, and I hear it all the time, I have so much student loan debt, like I need to start getting a job so I can start paying that back. We all have student loan debt. I'm still paying it back.
Yep.
I'm going to be paying it back for a long time, right? So I think to be able to pay that back and to be able to like look at that experience and say like, I need to make money because of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
that's not the mindset that you should have at the start of your career, right? The start should be, I'm taking this experience to help me better myself, so that way I can make X when I get to X.
Yeah.
Not I want my first job I should make in 72.
That's
right?
that's like saying like, oh yeah, my first car should be a Beamer, my first house should be a mansion. Like that doesn't work.
My friend had a Beamer, so actually I need a Beamer too.
That's not how it works. And I'm gonna be honest, like I get to be choosy with who I hire. I get to be super choosy.
Hiring anybody at a school.
Exactly. Like there's people who send me resume where I looked at it, I was like, I'm not saving this.
Yeah.
I have stacks of resume who I know, hey, when we need to call someone, this is the person I need to call. Right? They show me they have the grit, they show me they want to learn.
Yeah.
And they show me they care about their skill set, and they care about the outcome, and they care about getting patients better.
The experience.
Exactly. Which is it's so ass backward, right? If you approach this career as a financial thing, you'll never be successful financially. It's a paradox thing. Because if you're driven financially, it will be a huge gaping hole in your heart, in your head, because it's just never enough. What I do every day is, obviously I run a business, it's for profit, so I can help other people.
Right.
But my main thing is to put patient care first. It's patient-centric experience. And that's our core value. That's what we do.
Right.
So, like for all those hard days that we used to do, seeing 4 patients an hour, it sucks, but I went home, I feel I made a difference. I help people. Did I get paid well? No. But I know, like, I know at least I bring some sort of, change in someone's life.
Right.
And that's meaningful to me.
Well, and man, you just said it. Like, I just said exactly why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And at no point did I mention money.
Mm-hmm.
You're the same way. Like, when people go into cash business, I hear, when people are like, I want to start a cash practice because I want to make more money. Man, you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Like, I hear people saying, I'm going to take a second and a third job to make more money. Like, I just want to make more money. You can't make money in PT. You're a PT for the wrong reason. You can make money in PT. Yeah. I can guarantee you can make money in PT.
I mean, you and I kind of...
I'm doing fine.
Yeah.
I'm doing just fine, right? I'm making money I never thought I could make as a physical therapist. I'm a year into business. Mm-hmm. So, opportunity is endless.
Yeah.
But my value system is still on the patient experience.
Yeah.
It's still on my outcomes. Yeah. Now, with everything you go through, as you know, with the experiences I've had as a professional, that just means I get to charge more because my time is worth more because of what I bring to the table, because what I've spent the last 10 years doing.
Yeah.
So I can charge more money, which means I can make more money.
Yeah.
But again, like we said, you have to get there. Mm-hmm. Like, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. So if you want to be charging $100 an hour, you need to have the experience to back $100 an hour. Mm-hmm. Right? If you want to be charging $150 an hour, you need to have more experience and get good outcomes over what $100 an hour is, right? Yeah. For me, that's the perpetual cycle. But at the end of the day, it's great. I've met people that are like, I charge $250 an hour, I charge $300 an hour. But like we said, it all comes back to the patient experience and the patient outcomes. Mm-hmm. If people don't think you're good at what you're doing, it's like you said, a bad Google review. Yeah. You're not going to make that money. And people get, coming out of school, we get this glorification of what a cash PT business really is, when in reality, it could also go the other way.
Yes.
Social media has taught us to see only the positive, never the negative. How many businesses fail?
Oh, 100.
How many people leave the profession, right? We know people who have been cash PTs and have left. Yep. Because they're like, this is not what it was cracked up to be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and, I'll leave with this story. This is a really good story I've heard. It's a great analogy. So, you hire a plumber, right? Plumber comes in to fix your pipe. Take a hammer, hit the pipe, boom. Next thing you know, everything's soft, right? Handed a bill, $500. The lady goes, hey, I'm not paying you $500. You just took a hammer and you hit this thing and then you fixed the problem. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I should have specified how the charges work. Is me hitting the hammer is $5. Me knowing where to hit the hammer is $495. So that's part of that skill set.
Yeah.
That you being in the grind, your experience and your willingness to learn, right? Invest in your own education. That's another thing. You're in the education space now, right? You've seen countless of people. Tell me how quickly you can identify someone who gives a shit and want to be there versus someone who just kind of showing up there because they need CEUs.
I can tell in a minute. 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes. I already know if they want to be there by the time I'm done with my title slide and introducing myself. I know exactly who wants to be in the room and who doesn't.
How do you tell?
You could just tell by the excitement that's in people's eyes, right? The same way you can tell when a patient comes in and they're excited to see you. Like, you could tell if someone wants to be there, they don't want to, like, they're being forced to be there.
Yeah.
They're just doing this to get their credit.
Yeah.
You could tell. You could see by their body language. You can tell by, you know, when the person who doesn't want to be there never is who doesn't want to be there is never the first one there.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When I start a class at 8 o'clock and there's someone strolling in at 8:01, they don't care that much.
Yeah.
Right? There's always the exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
But if someone's really excited day one, they're going to be there early. Make sure they're on time. They don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
First 5 minutes of a course is never anything. It's hello, this is welcome.
Yeah.
But you can just tell, or someone that comes up and introduces themselves before the class, hey, I'm Jamie, nice to meet you. I'm excited to be here today. Like, looking forward to learning about this. I know that you're ready to be there. Now, when you teach for long enough and you're able to develop a presence and, you know, you get into situations and scenarios which I am oftentimes blessed to be in, where I have a room of people who are in the room because I'm there. Someone that's coming to a class because they know me and they want to experience a class with me or take another class with me.
Yeah.
And in those moments, like, that gets me even more excited. Because I know, like, if it wasn't for me, you probably wouldn't be in this class today.
Yeah.
So that gets me more amped up to provide a better experience. And that's what it all comes down to, right? To provide a better experience for the person that's in front of me. And that's, you know, that I think for us, that's half of the battle. That's half of the patient-therapist relationship is how I serve you.
Yeah.
Like, I think we get it asked backwards. And continued education really taught me that. It's my job to serve you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's my job to teach you this content. If someone comes into my class and they don't want to be there, but they learn something, that's a reflection of me.
Yeah.
If someone walks into this class and didn't learn anything, and they didn't want to be there, that's a reflection of them.
Yeah.
But I've seen people walk into a class and not want to be there, and then they walk out and they're like, thanks so much. Like, I learned a lot. So I think it all comes back to that, like, that experience on who we serve. And we serve the person in front of us, which, again, comes back to your eval, comes back to your treatment.
Same principle.
You know, we're in a customer service industry, and we need to remember that at all times.
Yeah. It's under a banner of healthcare.
Yes.
And that's all it is.
Just because it says healthcare doesn't mean it's not customer service.
Yeah, I
doesn't
mean,
mean they need us.
Yeah, no.
I have friends. Yeah, they need me. No, they don't. There's a physical therapist on every street corner.
Yeah.
Like, they don't. I need them, and you and I need them more than the big box, you know, companies need them because they're gonna get those patients.
Yeah.
Like, every person that comes to see me, I need because they're helping put food on my table. So I need to serve them because I need them to keep coming back because I need them to keep getting my name out there, right?
Yeah.
So we need to remember that ultimately, at the end of the day, that's who we serve. We serve them.
Yeah, you serve the person in front of you.
Right.
And
which education taught me.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, I have so many points I can make from that. First off, healthcare-wise, like, if you look at every time we try to hire someone or we put a job ad out, like, our main thing was to put the word care back in healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Because we're here to serve people.
Right.
So that's the first thing. Second thing is that, you know, like, now that I'm hosting a lot of courses in the clinic, I love going there because I can spot out, like, all right, this person give a shit about being a PT. This person doesn't really care, this and that.
Yeah.
And I love hosting a course like taping, right? If you're coming into a taping course and saying it's just taping, what do I need to learn about taping? That's the person I'm just like, nah, this is not a good fit because the possibility of the people that you can help with the tool of taping, like, that should be it, right? Is the application. Like, it's like, again, it's a tool, but it's a tool that can help so many people, right? So if you're not seeing the potential of how many lives you can change by just using this tool and using that tool to introduce movement and then to better their quality of life and so on, you're missing the whole boat.
You're missing the point.
And that's and plus, I mean, this going back to, like, you are the company that you keep, right? If you are surround yourself with other, you know, new grads or student or PT that are thinking along that line where it's very self-serving and you're not that kind of person, you probably need to get out. I mean, like, when I was coming out PT school, there's one kid that we used to study all the time, but then he took his first job working for a chiro to make 100K.
Right.
Seeing 6 patients an hour.
Yeah.
Just doing quick
to make money,
lower back massage, stim, and all of that stuff. And I asked him like, "Yo, you really think you give him a good outcome?" He's like, "Yeah, I think so." And I'm just like, "All right, man. I wish you well." And that was it.
Peace be the journey.
Yeah, we just kind of phased out. That was cool. Like listen. He do what he has to do, right? I do what I have to do. But I just know that I got into the field because I truly care about getting people better. I just enjoy helping people. And
anytime I hear stuff like that, man, I have good friends that say me that shit, right? Like, money's not in PT. Like, you can't get rich in PT. I'm like, if that's your philosophy, you ain't gonna make it. You're not gonna be a PT in 10 years. I'm not even gonna try to convince you otherwise. But nobody goes into healthcare to be rich.
Yeah,
it's not why we do this.
Yeah,
right. And that's just the reality. Like, if you wanted to be rich, you should have been a finance person.
Yeah,
should have gone to work on Wall Street. Should have went into business.
Yeah. But be okay with the high suicide rate that come with the job as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, you can't have it both ways.
You
but
can't, right.
I also argue that, like, I just like to argue different mindset, right? That's just me always. And
always,
I think you can say this, like, you can put a blanket statement and say you can be rich or be successful. I wouldn't want to say rich because rich is such a basic term of how.
Well, it doesn't mean anything.
But how people identify success, right? Like, you can be rich in so many. You can be rich in relationships.
Right. What does rich mean? A lot of money?
Yeah, like
that doesn't mean you're successful because you may have a lot of
material success, like all this. But again, imagine going back, I don't know, 50 years ago, right? And someone say you can't be rich making urinal cakes. Somewhere out there right now, there's a millionaire making urinal cakes.
All these people on Shark Tank that are rich on Scrub Daddy.
Exactly.
Made sponges.
Yeah.
The product existed already.
No, but I think you can be both. You can be fulfilled. You can be rich. You can have it all. But I think at the end of the day, you just got to know why you do it for. If you do it for monetary gains, you will never be satisfied.
Well, we both know this, right? I didn't start a business to make money. Obviously, we work to make money. Mm-hmm. That's all work. I started a business because I saw a void in the community. I saw a void in the way normal people got treated, and they deserve to be treated like pro athletes. And I was sick of the corporate bullshit that I had to deal with. I was sick of having to come home at 6:30 every single day to my fiance, who's now my wife, who is a teacher and is done at 3 o'clock. And I got to spend no time with her because she had to go to bed early because she has to wake up early to go to school.
Yeah.
That's not the way I want to live my life. I didn't find my life partner, and we don't have a family yet. But when we have a family, I definitely don't want to be coming home at 6:30, 7 o'clock every day because that's not why I do this.
Yeah.
I don't work to live. I mean, I don't live to work. I work to live.
Yeah.
Right? I still want to live my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to come home. When I know that Tori's coming home at 3 o'clock, I would love to be home at 2:40 so that I could be there to greet her. But I would love even more to know that I could be home at 4 o'clock and be able to spend time with her and cook dinner together and hang out on the couch and watch TV because that's why I live my life. Like, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times it gets lost in this translation of making money.
Yeah.
Man, when you're seeing 6 patients an hour, who cares if you're making 100K? Are you really like enjoying your life?
Exactly. Yeah.
Are you having fun?
And I think it goes without saying, like, we all want that kind of lifestyle. I mean, obviously, I thrive to have that kind of lifestyle.
Right.
But you have to put in the work to get there.
You got to get there.
Dude, this is the craziest thing, right? Someone told me this. You want to make 150K, right? Let's just say 6-figure. You know that's CEO salary.
Yes.
Like, are you a CEO of anything? Nothing.
Not even CEO of your damn life, right?
Exactly. So don't get so, people, I mean, I would say 20% of the people will be like, oh, this is great. And the other 80 would be like, this guy sucks. But whatever, I don't care. But either way, like the truth is that you have to hone in on your skill set first. It's just going back to the whole basic. That's why the whole podcast has started, just because, let's be badass again. Let's do best. I went to a course. It was spinal manipulation, dry needling.
Yeah.
I got great instructor. Dude, this guy made me feel like I want to run through a fucking wall.
Yeah.
And be so excited to be a PT. And I was like, this is missing. We don't have this in our profession.
Yeah.
We just have people bitching and moaning and all of this stuff, and just getting each other's throat. Like, bro, your circle should be picking you up, not pulling you down. And I think conversation like this need to happen more.
Yes.
And this is really my sole mission on this, and it's to really get people to focus on the basic, being good clinically, take good courses, right? Educate yourself, and then, go through the grind, but also have an end goal in sight that you can do more, right? Back in the day, option was not there. I started Myokinetix. Obviously, I saw a need in treating the patient. I want to do one-on-one.
Yep.
But really, I asked myself, if I were to have the best job possible, what would that look like? And I create that for my employees.
Build that, right?
Right? And that's what I want. But again, I get to be picky.
Right.
I don't have to talk to you.
Yeah.
I don't need you.
Yeah. Right.
If you want to work here, you need me.
Yeah.
Right? And you kind of have to show up and show me what you got.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is...
If you want this life.
And dude, I mean, I keep my staff accountable. Like, we're hard on each other. That's the whole point. You can bring in a AA effort when you want to play in MLB.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Your 84 fastball in high school that you've seen is not going to cut it in the major.
It's not going to be big leagues, right?
No. So, upgrade your skill set, upgrade your mindset, and, give a shit about your patient more.
That's it, man. You just got to, want to be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, so much of our profession is just people who don't want to be there anymore.
Yeah.
And they're just doing it for a job. And it's so sad to see it. Like,
yeah.
I've had students that have come to spend 12 weeks with me that clearly don't want to be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you here? Like,
yeah.
Why didn't you just take a spot around the corner from your house? Like, why'd you come to Texas?
Yeah.
Like, for this experience? Like, for what? Like,
yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just I have a different mentality and a different mindset, but you just whatever it is, right? I don't remember the exact number, but I think someone told me you spend whatever it is, of actual hours of your life working. It's 30 years of your life or 50 years, whatever it is.
It's a lot.
You see people at work more than you see your family.
No, your spouse, 100%.
Right, you see your employees more than you see your spouse.
Yeah.
I mean, I see the owners of the gym and the athletes at the gym more than I see my wife.
Yeah.
Give a shit about it. And if you don't care about it, go do something else.
Yeah.
But if you give a shit about it, care.
Yeah.
Your job is to help people. We're so blessed as PTs, we literally just get to help people who are in pain. They come to us because they're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And they just want to increase quality of life. How amazing of a gift is it? And I truly view it as a gift.
Yeah.
That I can use the skills and the tools that I've been able to acquire and the gifts that I've been given to be able to help other people live better lives.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Use those tools, use those skills, and just help people. It will come, with time and effort. Then you have to go out of your way, and you have to try new things, and you have to volunteer, and you have to, depending on the direction you want to take the profession.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you've gone through school, you have these skills, you have these gifts, use them. Use them to help people. Do good in the world.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that's a good place to end it. I'm going to be honest. And my last message would be, don't look for the system to change.
It ain't changing.
It's not. You can only change yourself. And I'm going to be honest, the system's been here long before you got here and still going to be here, right? Either you do something about it by, making a change one person at a time with person in front of you. If you want to be advocate for your profession, do better. And then get the patient in front of you better so you can say, you know what? PT is different. It actually works. It's great. People should get PT more. That's how you really start a change. It's not about lobbying and all of this stuff.
Be the example of good PT.
Yeah,
Be the example of what the profession should look like.
Yeah, lead. Yeah.
Lead by example.
Yep.
You'll have a great career. You'll be very happy with your job.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Great. I think this is a good first episode, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, we knock it out of the park. Cheers.
Cheers.
Boom. So, obviously, if you guys know Dr. Jaime at Dr. Jaime Mor, you can find me at Dr. Natty, except you have to spell Dr.Natty, Natty. So, all right, well, stay tuned. We'll have more.
Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Natty.
All right,
Appreciate it.
later, bro.